This week I'm flying from Manchester to Aberdeen with Loganair, the airline keeping communities across Scotland connected. But today's flight uses something increasingly rare, the Embraer ERJ-145. So, what's it like flying to Scotland with Loganair, and should you experience the ERJ-145 while you still can? Let's find out. Our journey today starts in an Uber from the city centre to the airport, which takes around 30 minutes on a good run. I'm a big fan of Manchester as a city. I think it's got a lot going for it, so if you are visiting the UK, definitely get on up out of London. There's certainly lots to see up north. Well, a very warm welcome to this week's video and welcome to Manchester Airport. Now, I've not been back up to Manchester Airport for quite some time. Those last two flights I took, first was that Ethiopian flight over to Geneva in business class, and the second one, of course, completely memorable. It was the inaugural Manchester flight for Global Airlines over to New York's JFK on their Airbus A380. But today, we're flying the UK's largest regional airline, and that airline is, of course, Loganair. Now, it's famous for that 90-second hop between Papa Westray and Westray, but today we're on a flight that takes a little bit longer because we're flying up to Aberdeen. So we're on the ERJ, the Embraer 145, and it's a plane that's so small it almost feels a little bit like a private jet. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I've wanted to feature Loganair on the channel for quite some time, and that time is today. So let's get inside and get this journey started. Now, at the time of recording this in July of 2026, Loganair depart from Terminal 2, and as I walked into the terminal, I was delighted to see that all the renovations have now ended. I'm sure you'll agree it looks far neater than my last visit. Loganair used the check-in counters 11 and 12 located in Zone E, and whilst there are self-check-in kiosks available, Loganair doesn't take part in the scheme, so if you are checking luggage, you will need to visit the check-in desks. So, pretty much all good to go through security. Just stop by the check-in area, which is at E11 and E12 here. Nobody there at the moment. They do open exactly 2 hours before the flight departure, and there was an earlier Aberdeen flight, but for me today, I decided to jump on the later one, and I paid 6,500 Avios and around £65, £70 in taxes and fees. So not a bad steal at all compared to the cash price of this flight, which was well over the £300 mark. So I would say that was a considerable saving. Now, I've not got any sort of baggage to check in the hold or anything. I've just got my rucksack with me. I have just tried that in the luggage sizer here, the Loganair luggage sizer, and not only does it not fit, I'm pretty confident it's over their weight allowance of 6 kilograms. So let's see if I get stopped and charged at the gate. I think the worst case scenario with Loganair is they would try and put it in the hold. But with it being the Embraer, I'm hoping that I can sneak it in the overhead locker and nobody will know. But really looking forward to getting through security. We're going to go and see if there's a lounge here. I'm sure there's a priority pass lounge at Manchester Airport. We'll get settled, show you around the lounge, and then we'll take that Loganair flight up to Aberdeen. So all through security, start to finish, about 10 minutes, not too bad for Manchester Airport. And now off to the lounge with priority pass. It's either the Escape Lounge or the Aspire Lounge. Once through security, it was then time to tackle the myriad that is duty-free. I tell you, some of these constructed walkways never seem to end. I wonder why that is. Now, the Escape and Executive Lounges are located upstairs on the first level, whilst the Aspire Lounge is located on the same level as duty-free. We're headed upstairs today, and I do still absolutely love this beehive-inspired light installation. I think it looks pretty cool, and it's something that's certainly unique to Manchester Airport. Well, just been trying to get into the Escape Lounge. It is notoriously busy. I mean, it is part and parcel of Manchester Airport's Terminal 2. There is only 2 lounges to choose from, unless you go for the new Executive Lounge, which is the same lounge I was in when I flew Ethiopian, but it was called something else, and I can't remember. I think it was the 19-something lounge, 1906 rings a bell. That's now been rebranded as the Executive Lounge, but you can't get in there unless you pay a upgrade fee of £70, I've just been told to enter. So, not that desperate, but everywhere is really, really busy inside Terminal 2. Like I say, it is the bulk part of most of the departures here in the afternoon at Manchester Airport today, so I'll try and find somewhere for a small coffee, or if luck is on my side, I should get a text to say that my place in the digital queue has been successful. But you know what? There's plenty worse things happening in the world, so I'll try and grab a coffee somewhere and catch up soon. And that coffee actually turned into pasta evangelists, where a large pasta dish, focaccia and a drink set you back just £15. Not bad for airport prices in my opinion. The lemon and burrata pasta was super tasty, as well as this pot of profiteroles, and the whole experience actually made a welcome change to sitting inside an airport lounge. So just come away from the departure area to this little tunnel because it is absolutely chaotic. I don't think I've ever seen Manchester Airport this busy. I mean, it is approaching the summer holidays, so that's probably got something to do with it. So I've just come into here for a bit of peace and quiet, because trying to find a seat after I went to that little pasta evangelist's place was a nightmare. So I've come out of the way where it's a little bit quieter. But managed to see a few interesting aircraft. There's a Vamos Air A330 that's currently operating on behalf of Virgin Atlantic. They've outsourced some of their operations to the wet lease carrier, so I managed to catch that one. And also saw the Air Tanker A330 operating on behalf of Jet2. They've sort of switched to the wide body again for the summer schedule to get their masses of passengers out of Manchester Airport and down to places like Spain. So it was interesting to see that one. But for me, in a few moments' time, I'm going to get the gate. It's being announced in the next couple of minutes. The flight's very close to us now. It's been flying in from Newquay as we speak. So we'll get down to the gate and join this Embraer 145 service up to Aberdeen in Scotland. The gate for us today was B1, so off I headed, and the B gates are located downstairs and usually involve getting a bus over to your plane. No sooner had I arrived was the boarding process started, and sure enough we were bussed across to meet our aircraft. I thought I'd got the bus to myself at first, and then I found out there was just 25 people aboard this 49-seater aircraft, so certainly not a full load by any means. And here she is, this Embraer ERJ-145, flying us up to Scotland today. Initially delivered to BMI British Midland in April of 2000, it joined the Loganair fleet in June of 2019, affectionately named Clan Macduff. The cabin is laid out in a 1-2 seating configuration, and here's our seat for today, 16A. Well, welcome aboard this Loganair Embraer ERJ-145 service up to Aberdeen, and I must admit I'm a little bit of a fan. This aircraft used to fly for BMI Regional when that was a thing. I used to remember seeing those little Embraers fly from East Midlands Airport when I was a kid, and it's obviously been, repurposed now. It now flies for Loganair and has done since they acquired the aircraft, and they've got quite a large fleet of Embraer 145s alongside some ATRs as well, some propeller planes. So I'm going to get settled in. I really am enjoying it. We've got a lovely warm Scottish welcome. There's just 25 passengers on board, one crew member, and I am on row 16, so pretty much at the back of the aircraft. So I'm going to get settled in. I'll take you on a full seat tour as always, and then we'll taxi out and get up in the air towards Aberdeen. The seats are leather in style and all come with a lovely tartan headrest. Each one is unique depending on where you sit. I really do like these. The seats also recline, have overhead storage on the two-seater side, as well as overhead air vents and reading lights too. Legroom was far better than I was expecting and actually quite comfortable, and all seats have one of these rather large drop-down tray tables too. There's rear seat storage in every seat, and in here was a safety card and air sickness bag. I hope we don't need that today. There's also these huge Embraer windows. Here's my hand for comparison. Oh, and there's a blind to pull down too if you need it. No sooner were we aboard though, it was time for us to push back and depart, and there's nothing like an Emirates A380 to truly bring home the size comparison. I certainly feel small today. is us up in the climb now, and it was very bumpy out of Manchester. We suddenly got out of nowhere some quite bad turbulence, but it's all fine now. We're all levelling off in the climb, and much sunnier up here for sure. So I must admit my initial impressions of Loganair are really good. The seat is incredibly comfy. You know, you can't deny it's an old product. It's a very old product. So, you know, it's 26 years old nearly, this aircraft. But it's really, really comfortable. The legroom's great. Everything seems to be functioning so far. Yes, it's a little bit dated, but it's comfortable, and that's the main thing. You want something that's comfortable on a flight like this. I think the real selling perk of the Embraer 145 is the fact it feels like a private plane. It really, really does. It's not a full load today. In fact, the seats next to me and the row behind is completely empty, as are various other seats dotted around. There's just 25 people on board, so it's made a little bit more of an intimate experience, shall we say. But I was on row 16. I've moved back a row to row 17. This was a gentleman that took the window seat, so I thought give him some space, doesn't want to hear me rattling on. So I've moved back to row 17, which is just one away from the back row, row 18 on this Embraer. The cabin crew member's been really friendly, lovely, lovely guy. Not caught his name, but super friendly, super hospitable, and has just started the onboard service. So I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy this flight up to Aberdeen and see exactly what you get when you fly Loganair in 2026. There's just one toilet aboard this Embraer, and it's located at the back behind row 18. It's very small inside and certainly not built for people of my size, but it was very clean and well stocked, and I guess that's all that matters. So I've just popped the window blind down because the sun is blistering. In fact, I'll prove it to you. It really is very, very bright. In fact, I'll keep it up, but excuse my eyes. So the service has just concluded, and the cabin crew member on board, and I hate to keep referring to him as the cabin crew member. If you were on LM26 on the 18th of July, I salute you. Didn't catch your name, I'm really sorry. We've had a couple of chats, but I'm really, really sorry. I didn't ask, and I don't want to appear rude. So, fabulous job. Thanks for looking after me. The service was really swiftly delivered after takeoff, and we're currently over Newcastle. The cabin crew and the flight deck have just done a kind of joint announcement, and we are over Newcastle as we speak. So your options on board when you fly Loganair and you get the complimentary service, you can have tea, coffee or water, and it's freshly poured from the pots, or those little kind of plastic foil lid cups of water. You do get a complimentary snack as well. I was very lucky to get both today. I got a Walker's shortbread, and one of my favourites, a Tunnock's caramel biscuit, proper Scottish. I'm a big fan. So I'm sat here with my cup of tea, enjoying the views on what feels like a little bit of a private jet, and I must admit, Loganair have really, really impressed me. Admittedly, the price of this flight was really expensive. It was in the region of over £300 one way, which is incredibly expensive. But I managed to snag this on Avios, as I said earlier, so £6,500 Avios, and the taxes and fees equated to around £65 or £70. Not a bad steal when you compare it to a train ticket, which again is in well into the hundreds these days from Manchester to Aberdeen. The gentleman in front of me also doing a nice little bit of singing as well, so we've even got some onboard entertainment. It's really been a fab trip up to Aberdeen, so I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea, dunk my biscuit, and I'll catch up with you soon. Oh, and whilst enjoying my biscuit, this fact blew my mind. I knew Tunnocks were popular, but 7 million bars a week? That's a sweet statistic. Time has flown so quickly, we are very, very, very nearly on the ground, so I've got to wrap this up super quickly, but I was just thinking to myself, would I fly Loganair again? And the answer to me is a resounding yes. It's been a super comfortable flight, we've departed on time, it looks pretty good like we're about to land into Aberdeen on time, and everything on board's been really comfortable. The staff have been friendly, and the snacks great. You know, a complimentary snack in this day and age is rare, but two is certainly even rarer. Tunnock's wafer, shortbread, hot cup of tea, all included in the price of the ticket. What's not to love? So yeah, I'm a big fan. It certainly beats the train for sure. And if you want to replicate any Loganair journey and use Avios, you just need to transfer your Avios from your BA account to Loganair Loyalty, click Spend Avios on the website, and you can literally book the same ticket that I have. And I've not been sponsored or paid to say it. Genuinely, this is a fully paid ticket as always, but I just thought I'd let you know that you can do it on Avios, because some of the Loganair fares can be pricey in the double of hundreds, so definitely take a look if you can book it on Avios instead. So, a big thank you for watching. As we touch down into Aberdeen on time, I'll say farewell from this Loganair Embraer ERJ-145, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Over the years, Britain has lost so many of its regional airlines: Flybmi, Flybe, Eastern Airways, and most recently Blue Islands. Each time one disappears, our skies become a little less interesting, and some communities become considerably less connected. That's why Loganair matters. It doesn't just provide vital lifeline links to some of the most remote parts of Scotland. In 2026, it's still offering an experience with genuine personality that rises above the increasingly standardised norm. Airlines like this are becoming rare, and once they're gone, they're incredibly difficult to replace. Loganair is part of Scotland's identity and aviation heritage, and for future generations, it's something we all must preserve. Liking, sharing and subscribing helps me more than you'll ever truly realise, so thank you so much to those who've done it, and if you haven't subscribed, click the little icon and join me on a journey each week somewhere around the world.